because um, let's talk about this. Let's talk about boring men. Okay, let's talk about boring men.
Okay.
I know, like guys say they'll say something. I don't know what to talk about, but I guess some years ago I had met a guy. Honestly, like he would have been the ideal guy that like you would think that I should date, marry, have kids with, all that, right?
Mhm.
Um, he made 80,000 a year, doing something in tech, right? And no kids. It was great. Like he was like in his early 30s. It was really like ideal. Like I had to question myself, like, why is it that I am not attracted to this guy? And I realized that, a year, it's like he had these same, I know this sounds so petty, he had the same exact schedule every day. I knew exactly what he was gonna do. It was so boring. He didn't have anything else outside of his job. And when I asked him, like, what are your goals? It was like, oh, I hope I get a raise. And it's like, that's freaking boring. And like, I know exactly what you're doing every day. You're not, you're not investing in anything. You don't have any other business endeavors. You're literally just depending and relying on this job. And what happens if
Yeah.
they fire you? What happens if something happens? It's like you have no other backup plan besides just get another job and just
Yeah.
work a job. And like for me, I do like dreamers. I do like people who have big goals and big visions and someone I can, follow their lead who can, if I want to be someone who is an entrepreneur, if I want to be somebody who is like doing things, I want somebody who like can help me get there or knows or
Yeah.
will do it with me, and somebody who's just like, oh yeah, I'm just working a job and I'm just hoping to kind of get a raise. And it's like that to me, that was just
So
too boring to me. Like
I
you
hear
don't
where
have
you're coming from. I got some pushback for you. You
okay.
ready? I got some pushback
Yeah.
for you. So first first thing, um, let me ask you a question. Uh, if you have if you have to choose between two different people to train you, a trainer who they tell you, hey, this is my training schedule. Every day I get up at 5 a.m. I go on a run to I run to the gym as a warm up. I get to the gym. I train for I lift heavy for 30 minutes. And then I do like a breakdown, like I do a warm down for 15 minutes, a little light cardio workout, maybe some abs for 15 minutes, as a cool down. And then I speed walk back home. I do that 5 days a week consistently. And then on the sixth day, I'll ride a bike, hike up a mountain, something like that. Versus you have another trainer over here where you're like, hey, I want you to train me. And then they tell you, cool, I'm qualified to be your trainer because I work out throughout the week. And you're like, cool, okay, how often do you work out? Like, what's the schedule? And again, you're trying to pattern your fitness goals off of each of these trainers. The second trainer says, okay, pattern your goals off of me. And you're like, okay, cool. When should I work out? Okay, well, be like me. Just kind of be spontaneous with it. Just kind of go to the gym on this day go for a run, the other day, do this other workout, maybe do a hit workout this day, do sprints this other, just kind of make it all over the place. We both know if you look down the pipeline as to which one of them is going to actually be successful, it is the one that has structure, the one that has the boring schedule where it's day in, day out. Now, the reason why this applies is because even if we're talking about entrepreneurs, the vast majority of successful entrepreneurs, they will tell you they didn't become successful just because it was like, oh, I was doing this and doing that. My schedule was up and down. They will tell you, no, I had to get structure. I got up at this time. I might have meditated or prayed. I exercised a little bit for 15 minutes. I showered up, had a little light breakfast. I worked on my business for 4 hours. I took a break. And they have very consistent schedules. They have a
Mhm.
lot of structure within them. And
Right.
so likewise, like entrepreneurs, the only thing that's really something like unique about an entrepreneur versus a boring 9 to 5 worker is that entrepreneurs might be dreamers. They might think about plans and ideas in the future, but they need that structure that the 9 to 5 people have, because without structure,
Mhm.
you're just all over the place.
It's
So
true.
now, so I say that
It
to
wasn't the
say,
structure that was boring for me. It was the lack of
well, you did say that.
creativity.
So,
I know
so yeah,
it was a
I'm gonna
lack
talk
of,
about that
yeah,
too.
it was a
I'm gonna
lack
talk
of
about that too. So
inspiration.
we do want to address on one end, you did say the structure bored you. You're like, I know what you're doing every day. That's like boring. So you
I
did
mean,
say that.
okay, I do.
Let's see where you said
Not
that.
that I like knowing what a guy
Yeah.
does every day, but it was that he was doing these, like, there was nothing. Okay, so like for example,
Yeah.
I know a guy who makes 200,000 a month, right? And he's working on making 1 million. I know what he does every day. He gets up, he, like you said, he's structured, right?
Yeah.
He gets up,
Yeah.
he's trading Forex,
Yeah.
he's working out, he's working on his business, and he's doing that all the time. And it's like, I know what he's doing, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
but it's like, it's very intriguing to hear his new bright ideas, to hear his new oh, I came up with this that I can put into my business. And I came up with
I think you're intrigued. I think you're intrigued by his money, and because of his money, everything else he talks about sounds so much more interesting. It's like, oh my God, you're just so amazing.
I
No, I'm
love,
playing.
you know what's really, no,
I'm messing with you.
no, what's
No,
really
no,
attractive is
but
someone
I
who
want to.
has ideas and
I
someone who's,
agree, and I want
I
to
can
touch on
build and
that.
I can grow, you know?
I want to touch on that, okay? Because that was the second part I wanted to touch on. So the first part, the first part I want to touch on is that you mentioned, okay, the structure is boring. Now we're past that. The second part I want to touch on is what you mentioned, where you said, oh, he just didn't seem to have other plans or other things. It's like he was just
Mhm.
looking to get a raise. So because of that, I broke it off with him. I didn't want to deal with him anymore. Okay, cool, respectable. But I want you to understand that that was a prime opportunity for you as a woman. Shut up. That was a prime opportunity for you as a woman to then step in and show your value, to where now you could have taken this man making $80,000 in a year. He's already in the top 25% of earners. He and especially the kind of career he had, he's the type of person, every couple of years, his raise isn't the $1-2 raise a year. Those types of raises are like $20,000, $40,000, to where you look up 5 years, 6 years from now, he's gonna be making $250,000 a year. He's gonna be in the top one, or excuse me, top 3% of earners in America making that kind of money.
Well,
So
I
it's
met him
like,
like 3, 4 years ago, and so I know I'm still friends with him now. And I mean, I don't think he's not me.
okay, okay,
He's
all right. So
exactly
maybe
where I
not.
thought he was
So
gonna be.
all right. So Bumper, but the main point, I want to focus on the main point. The main point is that you had a beautiful opportunity as a woman to all of this knowledge you have, you understanding about, no, you got to dream bigger, you got to think bigger. That's one of the beautiful components of a wife or a woman that has wifely qualities, femininity, is that she can inspire her man. She can tell him, baby, I see what you're doing. Yo, you're making good money, you're decent. I love that you have this schedule, that you're organized, all of this, but I believe that you can do more. I believe you can be more. And then if he's like, okay, well, I don't really know. I just think just having this schedule, having this structure, and you working with him, you being like, okay, well, all right, so you're cool with the raise for now. What are you passionate about? Like, if you see anything he's passionate about, if he shows interest, I don't know, something weird like comics, like comic books. And you know, you being like, well, babe, have you thought about starting a YouTube channel where you talk about different superheroes and stuff and some of your favorite comics, because some of those channels do really well, you know? Or, hey babe, have you ever thought about, you know, as you talk about drop shipping, have you thought about doing drop shipping, and you doing drop shipping for different superheroes or different comic book characters, different anime characters? It's like, that's where there was a beautiful opportunity for you to show value. Because I'm gonna be very real with you, and some people in the chat, in the comments, are gonna like this, some people ain't, but we're gonna be real. I'm gonna be real with you. You take yourself, let's say for example, you get the kind of man that you want, where it's like, okay, he's making really good money, and he's a dreamer, he's big, he's all these different things. Why would he need you? Because the value that you could have added to the other dude, where you could have probably taken him to him making, you know, $500,000 a year or more. Maybe you literally, Janae, as a woman, maybe that's like one of your qualities where you can help a man become more, which I do believe is one of the great qualities of a great quality woman. It's like, instead of you taking those qualities to that man and helping him elevate, it's like, instead you're more inspired by these men that are already elevated and technically don't need you. And I
But
think
what do you
that's
mean
goes.
don't need? Why would they need me for money? That's not what men need women for.
No,
Men
no, 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 no. I didn't say for money. I didn't say
they
for
need
money.
women for, you know,
Yeah,
emotional support, nurturing. They don't need
yeah.
us.
I never said
To
for money.
me, to me,
Yeah.
saying like, you know, getting a man there, I've done that. I've been there, done that, and honestly, like, I feel like I'm the leader in the relationship. I'm not supposed to be the leader. I'm supposed to be following my
Your
man.
your audio is starting to cut out.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you good now. You
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at that point, I'm the leader in the relationship, and I'm supposed to be the leader. I'm supposed to be following my man. I'm supposed to be supportive. I'm supposed to be encouraging. I'm supposed to be nurturing. I'm supposed to be all those things. So to say like, oh, a guy has money, what does he need you for? Men don't need me for my money. I hope no man
No,
ever needs
I
me for
never.
my money.
Yeah, I never said that. I never said. I never said he needs you for your money. I said if he's already a dreamer, because the qualities, the things that you're mentioning, I think are dope. Like where you're saying, hey, I realized this guy had this lack where he wasn't really inspired to be more. But that's one a quality you clearly already have. What I'm
Well,
saying is that
I'll
I'm
tell
saying
you why.
what
I'll tell
what
you why those guys.
I'm
I'll
saying
tell
the
you why those
man.
guys
Well,
like
I just
me.
want to clarify on the point that I was making. I'm just saying the guy who already is a dream. So not just I did mention his income, but I also mentioned like this man, like the guy you were talking about, where he was telling you over the phone
Yeah,
all his ideas. He wants to do this, he wants to do that. It's like he's already inspired in and of himself. What I'm saying is
yeah,
that you have a quality that some men have a need for that quality that you have. But instead of you taking that quality, that beautiful quality that you have, and feeling a need in a man who has that need there, instead you see a man who doesn't need
yeah.
that, and
He
then
does
but
though. I'll tell
okay,
you why. I'll tell you why. Because like I said, I've already been there, done that. I've already dated the guys who who needed help or whatever. That just sounds like to me they need help. I've already dated the guys who need help and inspiration. I've already done all that, and it's like that's nice, whatever. But the guys who already have it together, what they like about me is that they can bounce ideas off of me. I'm not no dumb pretty girl. I am very inspirational. I can take just
yeah.
because they're making money doesn't mean they can't make more money.
Yeah,
And those
I
guys
never
who
said that. So I want us
but
to be clear
that's
to
what I'm saying is
yeah,
this is what you have to understand though.
yeah,
I am around these type of guys. I do have these kind of options.
yeah.
So
Are you
me,
are you with any
so
of them or are
me,
you single?
I'm single,
Do
but
they
I
want
do
to be
have
with
these
you?
options.
So the
I'm
does the kind of
dating.
man does the kind of man you want to be with, does that kind of man want to be with you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
then why are
I'm
you
talking
single?
to these, I'm dating these guys as in I have to vet them because their money isn't enough. I have to make sure that
Yeah,
they can
yeah.
support me.
I completely agree. I completely
I have to
agree. Yeah.
make sure that they support me emotionally. I have
Yeah.
to make sure they can communicate effectively. I have to make, there's a lot of other aspects.
Okay,
Like
cool.
them being
So
successful is just the,
so the
but what
so
they
the
like,
main guy you're
what
dating
they
right
have
now, my bad, my
expressed,
phone keeps going off. It keeps doing some weird stuff. So
I'm gonna tell you what
the
I'm
main
gonna tell
guy
you
that
what they
you're
said
dating
to me.
right shut up, stop. The main guy that you're dating right now, who he checks the boxes in terms of what you want for the bigger things. You said the type of man that you want to date and also is dating you. What else are you looking for with that guy that you're trying to figure out before you're going to make a next step? How long have y'all been dating?
I have to make sure that if we get into a disagreement, that he can communicate effectively, that he has his emotions under control, that he knows how to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This keeps talking. That's why I'm trying to turn it down. It's this is my old Android phone, my old Samsung. So whenever I say okay, it thinks I'm saying okay Google, and it'll like beep. See, and it keeps talking. So anyway, I'm turning it off. But go ahead.
Yeah, I have to make sure that they have good morals. I have to make sure they have self-control. I have to make sure that they know how to communicate effectively. I have to make sure that when we get into a disagreement, because it's going to happen, that they don't invalidate my feelings, that they don't belittle me, that they don't gaslight me. That's really important to me that they have their mental health under control. I do feel that there are a lot of guys who don't focus on that. They just focus on getting money. And so then to me, they're not really valuable if they have a lot of money, but they can't communicate effectively and they can't
Yeah,
control their emotions and
I
they can't.
agree. These are great things to look for. What are you looking to get? Like, what are you looking for in like relationship? Like, are you looking just to date somebody long term? Are you looking for a relationship that'll turn into a marriage? Like, what are you?
Yeah,
What's down
I
the
mean,
line for you?
I I'm looking for, I'm very like I like to be with one person, so when I'm with somebody, I like to be with them.
Somebody
But
said in the
when I
comments, you didn't say none of this before. It appeared that you were after the bag, sis. That's funny. My
Okay,
bad.
well,
But
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I didn't get to say any. I didn't. We were talking about money. That's what we were talking about. Our conversation was about 9 to 5 entrepreneur. Our
Yeah,
conversation was about money. Our conversation wasn't about all this other stuff. So
yeah,
now I'm getting deeper into it, and that's just the start.
yeah.
So, like I was
So
saying,
yeah. So are you
uh,
looking for marriage? Like, what are you looking for right now? Do you
yeah,
know what you're looking for right now?
honestly like I'm right now. I am looking for. I mean, I don't really say I'm looking for a marriage. I would like it. I would like marriage and family and all that. I'm not really
Okay.
like pressured. I'm not like, oh, I need to have a kid now and I need to do this
Yeah,
now
yeah.
and I I don't really
Makes
have that kind of pressure. It's more
makes
so
sense.
like right now I'm working on like
Would you,
I go to therapy, like I have a therapist. I'm working on like bettering myself and
that's good.
being a healthier individual. And it's more so focusing on raising my frequency and bettering myself and being the best person I can be. And then I believe that you attract somebody on your frequency. So I'm not really looking. It's more so I feel like I'm just evolving myself. And I think that's most
That's dope.
important.
So so yeah, you're not trying to get that, but you have desires for that. You're like, hey, I
Yeah.
would love that, but I want it to be someone who matches me. So
Yeah.
would you say that, would you consider yourself like a wife or a woman who's like ready, like you yourself, you're saying you want somebody who's on your frequency. Do you think you're at the frequency of wife quality?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. That's dope.
Yeah.
Um are so what about like your homegirls and your friends that you hang out with? Are they all like married
Yes.
right now?
No, I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I'm very selective about like I have a very small group of friends and some of my friends a lot of my friends are also gay guys. So I hang around with gay guys. So I hang around
Somebody
gay
asked an
guys.
interesting question. Someone said, they said you can meet someone on your emotional frequency that's broke as hell. Are you still? So yeah, would you be with a man who's super broke, but he's
No,
still on your emotional frequency?
I already did that. Nope, not doing
You
that
said
again.
no. Okay, cool.
I've
So have
been
you?
there, done that. I've tried it. Not for me.
So
No.
I guess let's go the opposite route. Have you been with the man who literally is what you would say, yo, this is the kind of man I want to be with from top to bottom? Have you had that kind of man?
If I did, I'd be with him.
Okay. So, uh, why do you think that kind of man? So I'm assuming you believe that kind of man exists. Why do you
Yeah,
believe that kind of man is not? Y'all aren't together right now.
we just haven't met.
But I thought you said that the guy that you're currently talking to checks all
I'm
those
talking to,
boxes.
I'm dating. I didn't say he checks all the boxes. I'm saying I'm still vetting him. I don't know
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
I don't know because like
All
there's
right.
certain
So
things
currently,
I
so currently,
question.
right
I do
now, that
question
particular
his.
guy, would you say? So as far as you know, does that particular guy, as far as you know, does he check all those boxes?
He checks a lot of boxes, but we haven't. I don't know how he is. He's made some comments that I have to kind of see things. Like I pay a lot of attention to stuff, and so I don't know if he has his emotional self under control. I don't know if he's.
Okay, cool.
I haven't figured that out yet
Yeah,
because
that's
we have
good.
to go through issues. We have to go through disagreements,
Yeah,
and
life
I
has
need
to
to
happen.
see. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
those are
need to see.
facts.
I got to go through those phases in life to see how he handles things, to see how he handles
Yeah.
problems, how he handles, hurt, how he handles, if he loses a bunch of money because that happens. I need to see how he handles things and how he handles his emotions because like that is so important to me.
So you said something earlier, and I agree with all that. I think that's great. You said something earlier. You said that you don't have, like you're very selective of the women that you hang out with. So of the
Mhm.
women that you hang out with that you're like close to, how many of them would you say are, or how many of them are like married?
I literally have one best girlfriend. She's not married. I have one best girlfriend and like two gay guy friends. And then
Okay, cool.
I have other like just guy friends I've been friends with for like 8 years, things like that. So I really don't hang around a lot of girls to be honest.
Okay,
It's
cool.
just I just
So
don't.
let me. So next question. So that makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of women that are like, oh, I ain't got a lot of girlfriends. I'm kind of out here. I'm very selective. So when stuff happens or things go wrong, like do you, when stuff happens or things go wrong in your relationship, let's say fast forward, you meet the guy who seems perfect, because none of us are perfect. We all have issues, and I'm sure you know that. When stuff hits the fan in your relationship, what women are you going to go to that are going to be able to pour into you and give you wife advice if you don't hang with any women that are around your age that are like wives?
I don't believe that just because someone's a wife that they're in a healthy relationship. Because there's a lot
Yeah,
of women who
yeah,
are weak. There's a lot of
yeah.
women who are weak,
I
and there's
agree.
a lot of
There are a
women who
lot of
settle.
wives that are in bad
Yeah,
relationships, but you think there are a lot of single women that can give wife advice?
yeah, yes, I believe so. Because I believe that a lot of men, like you said, a lot of men aren't meeting our standards. And so, because of that, there's a lot of women who are wifey material who are not getting with men just because a man doesn't validate if we're wife material. Us
So
being
would,
in a
would you
relationship
would you
doesn't
take
validate if we're wife
would you
material.
take investment advice from someone who doesn't invest or who's never invested?
Just because they're not married doesn't mean that they're not wife
No, no.
material.
Okay, so would you take investment
It's not,
advice from someone who's never invested? They say, "I've never
no, that's not the
invested."
same thing.
How is it not? It's more serious than investment. Like that's your
It's not,
partner for
it's
life.
not
That'll
the
affect
same thing.
everything.
It's not the same thing because
Okay,
just because, like I said, people can
so
go and be in a
can you give a
relationship.
similar can you give a
People
similar
can be in a
example?
relationship and it doesn't mean that they're in a
No,
healthy
I
relationship or that they
yeah,
can, no, it doesn't mean that.
I totally agree. Yeah, I said earlier, I agree with that. Someone can be in a relationship and it be toxic, but you're saying someone can be single,
Yeah.
not been in a healthy, never been in a healthy marriage, but they can give you marital advice. You would take
They can
marital advice from them for you and your husband.
they can give me advice on how to communicate effectively, on how to talk to, how to handle my emotions and how to, like my friend, she's very down to earth and she's very like, she's my rock. And that's who
So,
I go to
so you
for
think dating is similar to marriage? You think a person who's never been married. So, for instance, I guess what I want to know is what is a similar example? So, you said my example of someone who's never invested, they can't give you investment advice, but a person who's never been married, isn't married, can still give you advice for you in your marriage. So, I mean, would you say fitness? Let's say a person is super out of shape, they've never worked out, they don't work out. Can they be your trainer? If you're actually in the gym, you're actually a fitness person, are you going to ask them to be your trainer? If a person's never driven before, are you going to be like, hey, can you teach me how to drive? And you've had multiple cars, you've been driving for years. I'm just trying to see where does that logic line up to where you're going to get advice from people. And the reason why I'm asking this is
I
because
guess
one of the
I
huge,
never thought about getting advice from my friend because for marriage, I guess because I'm not married, and so I
yeah,
never thought about getting advice from my
yeah,
friends like that. If I
yeah,
really, if I, it depends on what type of advice it is. Like if it's like how to communicate
yeah,
effectively, I'm gonna go to my friend that knows how to communicate effectively. I'm gonna go to my friend that knows
yeah.
how to handle her emotions. If
Mhm.
it's about like I don't know a certain like I don't know what a marriage thing would be, but I could go to my mother, I could go to my grandparents. Like I have family, I don't have to have a friend who's married
So
to
do you know what the what one of the number one consistent traits are between people who end up divorced?
what?
They don't have married friends. One
Okay,
of
I can see
the
that.
number one contributors amongst lawyers, like, and I look at lawyers because they break down different consistencies and statistics and stuff,
I can see that.
is that
I
they don't
believe
have,
I
yeah,
would have married friends
yeah,
when I'm married. Right
yeah.
now,
But what
I'm
I'm saying is
single.
that,
I'm
yeah,
not looking like it's just like I don't have kids, so I don't really have friends who have kids because I don't have kids, so I can't relate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really
yeah,
don't want
makes
to
a lot of
be
sense.
friends.
Yeah,
I really don't want to be friends. I'm be honest. I mean, I've had a friend who had a kid, but it wasn't the same lifestyle as me. So I'm not gonna go and befriend people who are married. I know people who are married. I've been cool with those girls, but at the same time, like,
yeah.
what me as a single person, how can I go and hang out with people who are married? Why would I
Well,
have friends who are married
I
that
have a
have
lot of
been
married
single?
friends. Half the guy friends I have are married. They're
Well, you
married,
have a lot of
engaged,
guy
or in a long
friends.
term
I don't
relationship.
have a lot of girlfriends. I literally have one best girlfriend, and
Yeah.
then I have like
So
one
thank
other
you.
girl.
So that brings me back to why I was asking these questions. I'm asking these questions because, of course, the conversation was that you're saying, "Hey, I need a guy who's on my frequency, on my level." So then I asked, "Hey, would you say that right now, like you're like wifely quality, like you are wifeable?" You said, "Yeah." So then I asked you, "Okay, cool. Do you have any homegirls, any women around you who are wives?" You said no. So it's
What does
like,
that have to do with anything? What do they have to do
so,
with me being
okay,
wife
it has to do with
material?
this. It has to do with this. If I tell people, "Hey, I believe I'm on the same level as an NBA player. I'm professional as an NBA player." People are going to ask me, "Do you play against NBA players?" And if I say, "No, I don't play against them," they'll be like, "Okay, so how do you know that?" And I was just like, "Well, I just, because of myself, because I believe the way I dribble, the way I play, all these different things."
If I
And
have
people are like,
family,
"Bruh,
if I have parents and grandparents and people who are married and in healthy relationships, why would that not reflect to me? Why do I have to have friends who are married when I can't relate to them? When I can't, what am I going to do? I'm going to ask my friend and her husband out to go
okay,
eat, and it's just
okay."
me? That doesn't make sense.
All right, so my bad. All right, so, All right, so the reason why it's funny to me is because, and I don't want to I don't want to seem offensive in my laughing. So it's funny, but I'm not trying to seem like a jerk with laughing. So let me clarify that. The reason why I'm laughing is because you're saying, hey, what do I really have in common with married women? But you said most of your friends are gay men. What does
I didn't say what
a
do I have
hetero,
in common. I said I can't hang out with married women if they're
okay,
bringing their husband and I'm supposed to be what? I'm just me and her husband. That's weird.
they're okay, so they're not all right. So as a man who has a whole bunch of homeboys that are married, a couple of them are actually coming over to my place this weekend. They're married. They have multiple kids, all of that. Married
You're a
people
man
are not
though. That's different. Men are
married.
different.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that married people are not joined at the hip. You can have girlfriends that are married and they still have girls' night. Like that happens all the time. Like married people like having guys' night and girls' night. They still go out with other people. So
Yeah,
you can still have
but you
girlfriends.
relate to someone who's also in a relationship though. And so it's like I've met girls and
How
I've
do you
been cool with
relate more
girls.
to gay men than you relate to heterosexual women who are married? Like, how do you find gay men more relatable to you than women who are heterosexual and they're married? The only difference is that they're married.
Because them being married, if we go and we hang out, they're like I'm not a married woman, so I'm just not gonna I don't relate to them. Like we don't have the same lifestyle.
Okay, and
So
you
it's
know
like
what? And I love that. I love that, and I agree to a degree. But notice you said, "Hey, if she's married and I'm not married, how are we going to relate to each other?" That
yeah.
goes back to the point.
And it's like
If you were married, wait,
when I'm
no,
married,
stop,
I
let's
can hang
stop,
out with her.
no, stop, because I want you to see where we're going. If you said, "Hey, I'm a single woman," how can I relate to a married woman? But yet we just said, if you're a married woman, you're saying you can get advice from single friends. How are your single friends going to relate to you if while you're single, you don't even think you can relate to married
Because
women?
I just told you what kind of advice they can give me. I told you I have a best friend who's been my friend for
Okay.
10 years. I'm not going to get advice from some
Okay.
girl who's just a friend. You know what I mean? Like girls have like, you have levels to your friendships. So there's
I
certain
agree.
places I'm going to have my girlfriend, who's my best girlfriend, who she's my rock. And I believe I love her morals. I like the way that she thinks. I like the way that she controls herself. I like the way that she communicates. I'm going to go to her for certain things. I know what I can go to people for. And I'm going to go to her for certain things. But like certain things of like, there's other things in relationships that I'm not going to trust her with. And that's just that. I'm not going to go to her for that. Even when I'm in a relationship, because of course I've been in relationships and me and her have been friends.
Okay.
There's certain things I don't go to her for because that's not her expertise. That's not where she, as a person, is good at. You know, but I know where she's good at and I go to her for those things. So I just don't feel like someone being married validates them at all. They
I
just
agree.
happen to find someone that matches them and that fits them. And that
Okay.
happens for everyone in different parts of their life and different times. And that's going to happen. And, you know, some people it's going to happen when they're 18,
Yeah.
16. Some people it's going to happen when they're 45. It just happens that way.
Okay. So, and I agree. I love that. Now, my question is the last question I'm gonna ask about this. My question is though, if you believe you can get all of that you just mentioned as a you're married, because we're gonna believe you're gonna be married. If you believe you can get all that you mentioned from your single friends, then why can you not give all of that to another woman that you meet who is married, who's your age? Why do you believe,
Because
hey,
why
I
would I,
can't,
because
I
that's
wait,
somebody I
wait,
just
no,
met.
I'll
These
let
are
you
friends
go.
I've had for
I'll
10
let you
years.
wait, hold up. I'll let you finish with your whole monologue. I'm gonna go ahead and like state this whole point. So if you believe, hey, I don't need to have any women that are like engaged, married. I don't need to have any of those women of that quality around me to know that I'll be fine getting married and being out here. I can just have my
Mhm.
single friends. They can give me great quality advice. We're friends. We can build. Everything will be great, wonderful, all of that. But then you turn and say, oh, I can't relate to a married woman. Why do I need, like, I can't relate to that. It's like, it just sounds,
I don't think you
inconsistent or
quite
incongruent.
I don't think you're really understanding where I'm coming from then.
Okay,
So my
maybe I
point,
am. Maybe I
yeah,
am.
I don't think
I'll
you
put it
really
on
understand
me.
where I'm coming from. I have
Yeah,
two
maybe.
best friends that have been my best friends for 10 years. They're gonna always be my best friends and they fit in certain aspects and I know what their qualities are. I'm really good at I can actually like do I have like I've had a lot of girlfriends throughout my life, but they come and they go. That's how I
Yeah.
feel. Like there's some people they're seasonal, right? There's women they come and they go and they're good for that moment in my life. We'll be friends for 2 years and then we kind of fall off. Like not that we argue or anything, but like maybe our lifestyle, then maybe we fall off. To me, I feel like when I'm married, I'll meet women who are married, and then we'll, we're on the same frequency and we have the same lifestyle, and that's that. I don't need to be around women who are married right now while I'm single. Why would I need to do that? When I'm married, I
You
can
don't,
do
you
that.
don't, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You don't at all. You don't. That's
As
totally
I'm
cool.
saying, I don't need to be friends. I don't need to be close friends with people who are married right now. Like there's no point in that. There's no reason for that. But when I'm married, okay, yeah, I'm gonna definitely have married girlfriends and me and
Yeah, because
you know
when you get married, married women are just gonna, because once you get married,
it just no,
you find out
I
about
don't
the married women club, and all the married women meet each other, and you're like, hey, you're married now, so now we can all be best friends. So now we're gonna
yeah.
be best friends. 'Cause that's what happens when you get married.
No, I just, that's what happens for me for friendships. So I'm all
Okay.
about law of attraction. It's funny, my friend's calling me right now. My friend's calling me right now because I'm talking about her law of attraction. I'm all about law of attraction. Okay. So when it comes to law of attraction, what you speak, all those things. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
frequency you vibe on, I'm all about that. And I meet a lot of people. So right now I'm selective. Like I have met women who are married, but I didn't reach out to hang out with them because they're married and I don't feel like I just don't feel like I really relate to them like that because that's what they're married. But when I'm married, I'll be more prone to be like, oh, okay, oh, you're okay, cool, yeah, let's hang out, let's do this, let's do that, and I'll actually like put forth effort and energy. It's not like I don't know married women. It's like acting like I just don't know any married. I do know them. I just don't put
Yeah.
forth effort to hang out with them because they're married, and so I let them be with their husband.
Yeah, and single women hang with single women, you know, and married women hang with
Yeah.
married women, and because we stay divided, we don't hang out because we got to stay in our places and stuff like
It's
that.
not about staying in the places. Like I feel like you're not
I'm
really.
joking.
I
I'm just
think it's
joking.
not really about staying in the places. It's just that
Yeah.
I love my friends, and then also when, like I said, when I'm married,
So,
I'll
so I
I'll
want,
reach out, I'll reach more out to women who are married, and I'll hang out more with them. But right now, I don't feel a need to. For what?
so I want to
I don't
know.
have the same lifestyle. Just like I don't feel like hanging out with women who have kids right now because I don't have kids. When I have
Yeah,
kids, I'll want to make
yeah.
friends with women who have kids so that we can both have kids and go on play dates and do stuff. But right now, I don't feel like doing that, and I don't see
So,
what the problem is.
and there's no problem at all whatsoever. I guess maybe because I'm a guy. Maybe I'm tripping because I'm a guy. So let me ask the ladies. I know I've seen like mostly ladies here in the chat. Ladies out here killing it right now. Maybe it's because I'm a guy. Maybe I'm tripping. I'm thinking from a wrong vantage point. Uh, Ladies, y'all say yes or no if y'all understand what she's saying or if y'all agree with what she's saying. Because maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm off. And y'all, because I don't know. Maybe I just might be tripping. Um,
What do you feel like
do
you're
you gonna
tripping
want
about?
to be
What do you feel like?
friends with you is the question. No, you ain't tripping. So yeah, someone said you're not tripping. Someone says backwards, but how do you? Um, so that way we can kind of interact with the chat too. Someone said, but how do you gauge if you really truly wifey material and ready to be a wife if you don't have friends to help guide you? That's like saying I don't want to talk to business owner
Like I don't have
because
family. You guys act like I don't have family that are in happy, healthy relationships. I gotta have girlfriends that
no,
are married.
no, that's totally dope. No, that's totally cool. So I'll say it this way. And this is the way. So again, I'm a certified relationship coach. So this is the way that I'll say it. Family is phenomenal to have because family is similar to, like, I'm a Marine. You know, my father served in the Army. You know,
My dad did too.
so family's good because there's lineage with family. You're able to look down a pipeline and say, man, my father was an entrepreneur. My father was a business owner. My father did X, Y, and Z. Or my mother did whatever. So because of that, you have that connection to that industry. You know, just like a lot of women will pledge AKA or Delta because, oh, my mom, my grandma, it's in our family. So family gives that lineage. They give that kind of angle that you're able to see it, and you see yourself fitting in it. Uh, so I want to separate. So that's what you get from family. What you get from like a coach or a mentor who's able to mentor you. Now I'm speaking about like if you have a mentor who's a woman who's married. A mentor is similar to a coach. A coach is good with helping you refine your game. They're good with helping you refine your game. But when you have friends around you, friends around you are the ones that literally are able to run with you. You don't a coach can't push you to go harder. You need people around you to compete with. It's about competition, not competition in a negative sense, but literally you having other women around you where you're able to see. It's just like as an entrepreneur. It's like, hey, I have friends who are entrepreneurs, and you're able to glean from them. Hey, what are you doing right now? Hey, what are you doing right now? So I love the fact that you had mentioned how, ma'am, I got family members who are married. We both know this is a different day and age. It's wonderful to have family who's married, but it's just like having someone who started a business 20, 30 years ago. Starting a business 20, 30 years ago ain't nothing like starting a business today. So that's why it's wise to know people who today who are starting businesses where their businesses are thriving, so y'all can compare notes. Y'all can learn from one another. Y'all can be like, okay, how's this going for you? How is it going for me? Yeah, you can have a parent who started a business 20 years ago. You can ask them a couple questions, but they don't really understand how everything is happening today. And that's how it correlates. So yeah, you have family members, you have, older people who've been married for a while. That's great and all. But again, they can't give you complete advice for this day and age of dating. So that's how it almost cancels out. You don't see an NBA player who doesn't have friends that aren't NBA players. You don't see, I used to be a full-time poet. I had friends who were poets and writers. I used to write literally for a living. That's all I was doing for about 3 or 4 years. It's like, if you are something, you talk about the law of attraction. If a woman is wifely quality, if a man is wifely, if husband quality, naturally he's going to, law of attraction, if we're going to use that term, he is going to attract and end up around men that are that same quality. And that's the same
Quality,
thing
but
that
that
happened with
doesn't
me.
mean,
So
I already said that when I'm married, I'm going to have married friends because that's what I want to surround myself around. I already said that. So, but I'm not married right now. So all I have is wife qualities. So I'm going to be around women who have wife qualities. That doesn't mean I have to, when I'm married, I can have women who are married, married friends. But right now, I just haven't really seen a purpose in having women, friends who are married women. I'm not married. So, like you said, when they're in the NBA, I'm not in the NBA right now. I'm not married. So I don't need to have NBA friends.
yeah, but you were saying that you're wifely quality though. And what I
Yeah,
was saying is that
quality,
it's,
but I'm not a wife. So I'm going to be around other women who are wife quality. If we're gonna relate it to, oh, if you're a poet, you need to be around poets. If you're an NBA player, you need to be well, I'm not a wife, so what do I need to be around wives for?
well, because so I'm a solutions engineer. That's what I do specifically. I'm a solutions engineer. Um, I'm a solutions engineer even if I don't have a job. I'm still a solutions engineer. A rapper is still a rapper even if he's not signed to a record label. So I hope you see where I'm going with this. A wife is a wife even if she does not have a ring on her finger. She still is a wife. So because of that, because I'm an engineer, I have friends who are engineers. Ironically, before becoming an engineer, I started learning about the tech space. And then whether you want to say the law of attraction, naturally, I started meeting different men here and there who are also engineers and in the tech space. And also most of my guy friends ended up just all getting in the tech space. And now look up, I'm in the tech space. I'm an engineer now. But I was an engineer before I got hired at a company because I went to school for it. So even though I didn't have a job, I didn't have like, oh, this title says I'm an engineer at this company. I had the study, I had the resources, I had the time spent that I put in with myself. And because of that, I ended up attracting people around me that also were actually legitimately engineers and in the tech space. So the reason why we're having this conversation talking about like, oh, I don't need any white friends. Like, I don't need none of that stuff right now. Completely get that. What I'm saying is that just like a rapper is a rapper before he gets signed, gets a record deal, just like I was a solutions engineer before I got hired at my tech company and they said, hey, you're our solutions engineer. Likewise, a woman who is a wife before she gets a ring. And with that, her life starts to look gradually more like what a wife's life looks like, just without the ring and without the husband. But the type of women she hangs around are the type of quality women and the type of lifestyle of women that are also wise. The type of men she
So they don't have to
avoids.
be wives to be quality. They don't have to be wives. I don't like that because I feel like you're saying it takes a man to put a ring on it to validate that they're wifey, and I don't believe that at all. So
No. That's the opposite of what I said. That's the opposite of what I said. I literally said a woman's a wife without the man and without the ring.
right. So
I said
then, well,
without
so
those.
why? So then, why do my friends need to have rings in order to validate that they're wifey then? Why do my friends need to have rings in order to validate me of having wife material friends or having like why
Yeah,
does that like it's like it just makes it feel like, oh well, the man validates you. And I guess, at the same time, maybe I don't like my goal, like I'm not there right now. My goal isn't to just, oh, I want to be a wife so bad. Like that's not I'm right now. I want to be the best person I can be. I want to be the most healthy version of myself. I want to have a healthy relationship with me and then attract somebody who I can have a healthy relationship with. I'm not like, oh my
yeah,
God, I want to be a wife. Like, that's not like where my focus is at right now. I'm not like my ultimate goal is to be somebody's wife. Like, I validate myself. And I just feel
yeah,
like what you're saying is, well, are the women around, are they married? Well, then they're not
yeah.
wives. They're not material. And it's like, I don't feel like men validate them. I don't feel like men validate us. I don't feel like a man deciding to wife me makes me, because the truth of the matter is, I could have been married 10 years ago. I could have been married 4 years ago. I could have married, there's so many, I can be married right now. If I want to be married, I can be married right now. You don't think there's men in
I
my
don't think
inbox who
she's.
want to marry me?
Y'all don't be here spewing no wrong stuff about her. I don't think she's not 30.
What?
You said what?
But yeah, you don't think men want to marry me?
No, I never said that.
And so
But
it's like, if
I
I
completely
wanted
get
to
it.
be married, I would be married. If that was my goal, was to be a wife, I could be a wife tomorrow. It's really not that difficult. Being married is easy. Getting a guy to put a ring on it is
From
easy.
oh, you mean getting married? Okay, you said being married. I thought you were gonna say. Okay, I thought you said being married is easy. All right, that's totally
No, no,
cool.
no, no, no. I'm not saying getting married. I'm saying getting
I
married is
respect
easy.
it.
Like, I can settle and go and get married tomorrow if I want to. Like I could have already been married if I wanted to. It's really easy to get a guy to marry you. Like it's not hard. Like every boyfriend I had wanted to marry me. That doesn't
Yeah,
mean
I can
anything.
believe that. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't mean anything. So it's like, so to say
but
like, oh well,
according, but
you're not a
but
wifey because you don't
according,
have a ring or because you don't have a
so
man, that's
so
ridiculous.
I want to be clear, because I know people are jumping in and jumping out. So you said, oh, I could have all the guys I dated could have married me, but you also said that you've never dated, like you haven't been with the kind of man that you actually truly want to
And that's
be
why I
with.
didn't marry them.
Okay, so yeah, and I get that completely. What
And
I'm
that's why I
saying
broke
is,
up with them because I've broken up with all of my
I
boyfriends.
I hear you. So I want you to hear what I'm about to say. Um, I want you to hear what I'm about to say. You can say your part, and then we can move on from this conversation. So you're saying, oh, I could have been a wife, could have been a wife, could have been a wife all these times, but never to the kind of man that you're actually talking about. So that's
Right,
why
which is what
those
most
points are
men are
kind of like,
saying.
it's like, that's like me saying, oh, I can get a job, I can get a job, I can get a job. But it's just like, oh, all of those jobs are paying $12 an hour. So that's why I didn't take them. So it's like, well, why are you sitting here trying to flex? Oh, you can get a job, you can get a job. Like
Well, that's
it's
not
like
the
that.
same. It's because I have higher
Okay.
standards. And so it's like it's more so like I can get a job and I can get a job that pays me 60,000, but I don't want that job that pays 60,000. I want the job that pays me 120,000 a year.
Yeah, that was
That's
the
it.
example that I
More of
was.
the equivalent.
That's the
That's
example that I was
more of
giving.
the
Basically,
equivalent.
that's the
That's
same
more of the
example.
equivalent is other women would settle for things that I've passed up on. So that's where I'm like, I could have settled. I could have put lowered the bar. I could have done all that and been married, but I don't want those people. I want what I want. And like, that's just it.
Yeah, and I completely
And just
respect that.
because I don't have that doesn't invalidate me as a person. It doesn't
I
like a
never said,
man,
yeah, yeah, and I want to be clear. I never said anything
it just
invalidates you. I think
I just
you're
feel
dope. I
as
think
if
you're
I
respectful,
just I
cool, all
just
that
feel
stuff.
I just feel as if it's like if we're not married, then you're just not a wifey material if you're not married. And it's like, why does it take
I
a
never
man?
said that. Yeah,
Even if
I said you
I
could
said
be
I feel
wife
like
before you're married. I
I
said
said
you
I
can be.
feel I said I feel like my feelings
Okay.
are not like what it is. I said I feel like men say, "Oh, well, you're not married, so you're not wife material." And it's like, why does a man have to put a ring on it in order for me to be validated in who I am? And that's why and why do my friends have to have rings in order for them to be validated on who they are? Why does anybody have to have a person? Like that's like saying a man isn't husband material because he don't have a wife. That's ridiculous. Oh, well, you're not a husband. Oh, you're not a husband because, and I do believe I can completely understand that you are who you hang around with, but if they have the qualities, why do they have to have the actual ring or the person, just because it didn't manifest into actual, like, if it's in their vortex, what does it matter if it didn't manifest? It doesn't have to manifest in order for them to have the qualities of that person. And that's just what I feel like, you know, like when I see a guy and I look at his friends, I'm gonna look at his friends. I don't care if his friends are married or not. I care if his friends have good qualities. I care if they have good morals. I care if they put positive aspects into his brain. I care if they're out partying all the time or they're trying to get him to do stupid shit. That's what I care about. I don't care if they're married. I care if they have good morals. And that's what's more important to me is the qualities of those people. And but saying, oh, well, are they married? You're basically saying, oh, that validates who they are. And I just don't believe that. I don't believe marriage validates anybody because there's a lot of shitty marriages out there.
You're right.
Your character and your morality validate who you are. So what kind of friends do you have? Do you have married friends who are out cheating on their wives? Do you have married friends who are making their women work full time and take care of the kids and take care of the house and do all this stuff? You know, what kind of married friends do you have? That's what's more important to me is the character and the morality than the validation of a ring.
And I respect it. I respect it. Thank you very much for connecting on here, Jenny. I keep that Forrest Gump joke is so in my head. You know, I think Janae Aiko, like what you said. I think Janae Aiko instead of the Forrest Gump thing because it's cooler to think Janae Aiko because I listen to her music. She's dope. Super, super cool. Man, thank you so much. Thank you for being respectful. I didn't think you were gonna be disrespectful or anything like that. I didn't assume that. I try to avoid people that I think are gonna be that way. You seem pretty cool. You're always dancing and stuff on your page. So I think that's super, super cool. I definitely think this was some cool dialogue. I appreciate the back and forth. I
I
know
like
it's pretty entertaining
debating.
for people.
I like the debate.
You definitely came more alive when we started debating. Earlier
That's
on, you were
nice.
letting me monologue too much, but then you definitely came alive when we started debating. So that's pretty cool. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm going to go ahead and get to some of these questions. Some people put some questions down in the question box. I'm going to get to these. If anybody else wants to hop on, I can probably take, one other person could probably hop on if anyone has like a question, or if you agree with something she said, but you're like, hey, I feel like I could argue another vantage point that she didn't mention. That's totally cool too. But other than that, I'll go ahead and jump down to the question box until somebody else tries to hop on. So thank you, Janae. I really appreciate you
I was like,
hopping on.
I definitely want to hear the questions. What are the questions? I like the questions like, what are they about? I don't see the questions, so I don't know.
Oh, they're down in my, only y'all can see them. They're in my question.
Okay.
You know, when you go live and people send you questions, they're only in, I don't know why. I thought we did a live where we both had like, there's a way to do a live where it's like both people's live together and both of them have like access to everything. But yeah, I clearly haven't done that in forever. So I don't even know like what that looks like right now.
Do
But
they have questions that they push towards me that I can answer before I leave?
No, these are all related to me, especially this person saying, Cyrus, I'm single. Can we get to know each other more? No, we cannot get to know each other more.
I figured
Respectfully, we cannot.
most of these women looked like they were riding your dick anyways, so I figured that's what was going on.
Oh my goodness. No, 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 no. No, they
That's
don't
what
do
they look
that.
like. A lot of them look
No.
like
I'm actually very surprised because
they're pick me's.
usually I get a lot of pushback from them, which I always appreciate that too. But that's why I'm surprised. I think it's like just for one of the first times they like we all agree with each other so much that they're like they just agree with me this time. But no, there's no penis riding over here happening. We don't get
That's
down.
what
We
it
don't
looks
get
like.
down like that.
That's what it looks like. Or, you know, women like to compete. So a lot of women, you know,
Yeah.
they just
Or you
they
know what?
wanna
What if so? And
they
I want
wanna
to
be
argue.
better
I
than me.
want to
So if
argue
they
from
can
a
find a way to be
woman.
better than me,
Let
then
me
they
argue
will.
from a woman's angle because if a man, let's be real, if a man came on to your live, whatever, and the women were agreeing with you, like, can the man say like, oh, they're only agreeing with you because you're a woman? It's like you'd be like, well, no, they agree with me because they agree with me.
They say
But now
that.
yeah, no, I know you're gonna say, but I'm saying now the reverse is happening where you're saying, oh, they're just riding you. Versus it's like, no, they just
Yeah.
agree with me. I don't think it's like they're riding me. I just think they're
Yeah.
listening to the conversation and they're like, oh, and I don't think all of them agree with me. I'm sure some don't agree with me. I just think some of them, a lot of them are just like, hey, they're just agreeing with my vantage point. And who knows, maybe life will happen. Maybe 10 years from now, they'll look back and be like, you know what, Janae was right. Cyrus ain't know what he was talking about. Maybe that'll happen. We don't know. So
But
super, super cool.
I don't understand what the issue is.
No, there's no issue at all. But all right, somebody else wants to hop on. So you have a super good night, Janae. I'm super down to do this again in the future. Let me know. We can connect and do something like this again, because this is definitely cool and definitely entertaining. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Talk soon.
All right, peace.